and welcome to Shan's Corner. I am Shan. If you are new to the channel, welcome, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you leave. If you are not new, welcome back, my corner friend. Today is a story time. So today's story is actually one that I first heard on, I think it was B Love's Life's channel, and then it popped up in my Google notifications, and then I think that I saw a little piece of it on the news. And this is, I believe it was in Loudoun County. Not sure where that is, and I'll leave the link to the story in the description box so you can read it for yourself. Some of you may have heard this, but I just wanted to talk about this for a little bit. So, you know, this is about a school who decided to be inclusive, which is a good thing, and made the bathrooms, the gender bathrooms were made to where, you know, if you identified as a girl, you can use the girls. If you identify as a boy, you can use the boys, even if you're not, was not born a boy or, you know, a girl or what have you. And so this girl, I won't say little girl because I'm not sure the ages of these students. I can't remember if it was a middle school or a high school. I think it was a high school, so I'm gonna say teenage girl. But this girl was actually in the restroom and got assaulted in the restroom. Now, when I first heard this, when I was listening to it, B Love tell the story, I assumed, which is my fault for assuming, but I assumed that the boy that attacked her, well, he was wearing a skirt, first of all, but I just assumed that maybe he was not transgender or anything like that, just was taking advantage of the moment. But when I actually read the story, this little boy is called what they call, I want to say is gender fluid or identity fluid. And so I had to look that up because I wasn't sure what that meant, but that means that their identity can change from day to day. They may identify as a girl one day, but maybe the next day identify as a boy. They're not confined to their identity. So you can look that up as well. So the girl was attacked, and she was actually, it was like very, very horrible. She was sodomized, and she reported it that same day. And I guess the school, someone had asked the school if they had had an issue since they did this inclusion, I'm sorry, I keep saying inclusiveness, but inclusion, and made these changes with the restrooms, and they responded no, even though they had this report. So when that happened, it fueled a whole thing with the school board. So I want to say the incident with this young lady happened in May. Well, this same student, this same boy, what they did was they took him out of the school system, out of that particular school, and put him in another school where he assaulted someone else. And it wasn't until the second assault that they did something about the first one. And so they were, you know, so this school, and I think it was, I want to say it was, evidently it was in the same school system. So the superintendent has now, you know, been in all this controversy. Well, the father of the first young lady that happened in May, so the incident that happened in May, the girl was sodomized while using the restroom, but then the next incident I want to say was like, I can't remember if it was June or August, so I might be wrong on that date. He got charged with, I think it was kidnapping and something else, sexual misconduct or something like that. So the superintendent has come under a lot of controversy because instead of, you know, doing something to him the first time, they kind of, it sounds like they're upset because they swept all this underneath the rug and he was allowed to go to this second school where he harmed someone else. Now, when, you know, they started, you know, what was it, been a year, maybe two, couple years, you know, when they started with the whole gender bathrooms and changing them and those things, I'm gonna be honest, I never thought that a situation like this could happen. It just never crossed my mind. So in trying to do something good, something bad happened. And so what are your thoughts on that? Because I do think that they need to be, have inclusion, but also you're at risk of, people's safety. Now, let me say this. Had that boy went into the boys' bathroom, something may have happened to him, in the boys' bathroom. I'm not saying that. But I also can say that I don't think that that was a reflection of the transgender community. I just think something horrible happened. But I do feel like the school officials should have done something when it initially happened. And so that second incident may have not happened if they would have done something about the first one. And so this was what I thought was like really crazy about the whole situation. So the little girl in the first incident, her father, I guess, was so upset that he went to the school board meeting and they called the police on him. I guess he was irate and, which he had every right to be. I would have been the same way. But they actually called the police on the man, which I thought was just crazy. So I saw where the students were doing a walkout or protest because of what happened to the little girl. And I can't remember if it was at the first school or the second school where the students did the protest, but they did a walkout because, just to, in support, of the victim, which I thought, it was nice that all the students pulled together. But this situation has, raised a lot of questions, because how do you respect the identity of someone, but also secure the safety of the other students in the school? Now, let me say this. One of the main issues, I think, in the first incident, because, bathrooms, just like dressing rooms, you can't have cameras in there. And I think that is, I want to say that that's some kind of legality, some kind of, that's not because of privacy issues. You just can't do that. So there was no cameras, to corroborate what happened, because I did read where it seemed like the little boy said that him and the one girl had, sorry you guys, my son just walked through, but him and the one girl had maybe been friendly before in the bathroom, but we all know no matter what, if you've had, just because, she consented to one thing, that doesn't mean you can just do what you want to if she says no. No means no, regardless of, that. But he was saying that, so I don't know if he was trying to say that he thought it was okay because they had been friendly before. I don't know, what, but I do know he has, I believe if I read that correctly, that he has been charged, like I said, with the first one was sodomy and rape, I think, and then the second one was kidnapping and sexual misconduct or something like that. So what I was saying was about the camera, so it then turns into her word against his, that type of thing. So, it has raised a lot of questions well, by respecting one student's right to identify as they wish, how do you keep these students safe so that in the future, these incidents don't happen? And like I said, when all this first came up and they start changing the rules of the restrooms and stuff like that in the workplace and schools and in public and things like that, this was an issue that I never even thought about. But I guess, a lot of parents have been saying, well, what's to stop, a heterosexual or a man or a boy that identifies as, a boy and was born a boy from putting on a skirt or a dress and then just going in the girl's bathroom saying that he identifies that way that day. So I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on that. I think if I was the parent, first of all, I probably would have pulled my child out of the school system. But do you think the parents should have pulled the kids out of the school system? I think the main thing is, I think that superintendent needs to be fired. And I will go back and read, because when I did look at this last week, I didn't see where there had been any ramifications to the superintendent, but it was starting to blow up in the community and things like that. And so the first thing we have to do is make sure all of our kids are safe, regardless. And so I think that trying to sweep this underneath the rug was not the right thing. And the superintendent has since apologized, but if it was my child, a simple apology just probably wouldn't cut it for me. So tell me what your thoughts on that is, and like I said, I will link the story in the description box so you can read it if you've not heard about it. But it just started raising all these questions, and I want to say that some of the parents were not, a lot of the parents were not okay with them changing the bathroom to be, you know, in favor of the transgender society. And so, of course, now you got all these people that's upset, and I guess that school board meeting turned into a full-fledged mess. But I get what the school was trying to do, but I think they failed miserably. Like I said, I think it was one of those situations where you're trying to do the right thing, but something horrible happens. But I do think that they should be held accountable, and they should have stood up for that student in the first attack, and not try to cover it up. But shoot me your thoughts in the comments. I hope you all are doing well on today, and just let me know also what your school system, what their policy is regarding the restrooms and things like that. Again, I know they can't put cameras in there, but I don't know, you know, if they need to put security. I mean, I guess I don't know what the answer would be. Is it putting security outside of the restroom? Is it, you know, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do to make sure all the students are safe. Because like I said, if you have a situation, you know, where a boy identifies as a girl, if he goes to the male restroom, that could be, you know, a fight, or his safety could be at harm. So I get what they're trying to do. I just don't know how they're going to successfully execute this so that they don't have this issue, because not only, I mean, that was a total big issue. So now you have 2 victims who are forever changed by this, because we all know that when you get assaulted, it's not, your healing process is not overnight, and it really affects you for the rest of your life. Maybe not so much in a bad way. You know, some people are able to utilize therapy, resources, and things like that to get over it. But, you know, sodomy and that type of thing is just terrible. You know, it's really terrible. So I don't know if the parents are going to sue the school system. If it was me, I definitely would. I'm just going to be quite honest with you. And if it was me, yeah, I probably wouldn't have handled that right, and I probably would be in jail right now, because I probably would have tried to hurt the person, which I'm not saying. Please don't take this video and say I'm condoning any type of violence or anything like that. But I just know how I am about my kids, and I'm sure that if you have kids, you're just as passionate about their safety and about them as I am. So just let me know you guys' thoughts, and as the story progresses, I will also give you updates. And so thank you for joining on today. And that is actually, this was a short one. I'm not going to keep you long. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I appreciate all these things. Until next time, my corner friends, toodles!